Hamilton Arts Council serves arts communities within the Greater Hamilton area and the traditional territories upon which it sits, including Ancaster, Dundas, Flamborough, Glanbrook, Hamilton, Stony Creek, Waterdown, and Six Nations of the Grand River. We acknowledge that the area we serve is situated upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. The land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabeg to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Hamilton continues to be home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, North America, and we recognize that we must do more to learn about our rich history of the land so that we can better understand our roles as residents, neighbors, partners, and caretakers. I will turn the session over to our presenter today, Taisa Dekker. Welcome, Taisa.
Hi, David. Thanks so much. Thank you for that wonderful introduction and land acknowledgement and all those amazing links. So my name is Taisa Dekker, and I am the Manager of Industry Initiatives and Outreach at ACTRA Toronto. Today, I will be speaking all about ACTRA, or as we like to say, Lights, Camera, ACTRA. And before I begin the presentation, I thought I would share a little video with you because it's important to note that ACTRA represents thousands upon thousands of members, and we like to celebrate these members, and we'll do so by playing this little video. So again, I like to start my presentations with that. It really showcases just some of the members and the amazing content that they work on. So today we're speaking all about ACTRA. So ACTRA members are principal performers. These are lead performers in shows that you know and love, both Canadian and service content. ACTRA also represents stunt performers, which do amazing work, like get themselves set on fire and jump out of buildings. But ACTRA members are also background performers who are integral to creating the world that the production and the story takes place in. And of course, voice performers who you might not know their faces, but you definitely have heard them in animated content and video game productions, as well as commercial voiceovers, just to name a few. But ACTRA also represents all sorts of other types of categories like dancers, choreographers, dialogue coaches, hosts, puppeteers, singers, and more. ACTRA started in the early 1940s when a group of radio performers got together and decided to collectively negotiate for better wages and working conditions. So they created the Radio Artists of Toronto Society. Within a few years, there were branches in Montreal, Vancouver, and Winnipeg. So they stayed the Radio Artists of Toronto Society for a number of years, but obviously as media developed, the name changed to the Alliance of Canadian Cinema, Television, and Radio Artists, aka ACTRA. So what is ACTRA? ACTRA is a union, and as a union, its jurisdiction is recorded media in Canada. So ACTRA members work on commercials, audiobooks, video games, film, television, web series. Basically, if the performance is recorded, that is ACTRA's jurisdiction. We have 28,000 members across the union, over 9 branches, which are represented by these little dots on the map here. Now, ACTRA Toronto, the branch that I work for, is the largest of the ACTRA branches with 15,000 members. Now, we assert jurisdiction all across Ontario, with the exception of the National Capital Region, as ACTRA Ottawa has its own branch. As a union, ACTRA is a member-driven organization, and I'll talk a little bit about how the union is led by elected members later on in the presentation. Now, there are a number of facets to ACTRA. As a performer or producer, it's really important that you get in touch with the branch where you're shooting. As a performer, you would get in touch with the branch where you live. So as folks that live in Hamilton, you would, when you become an ACTRA member, you would be joining ACTRA Toronto. So again, our name is a little bit of a misnomer as we're called ACTRA Toronto, but again, we have jurisdiction all across Ontario with the exception of Ottawa. Next, there is ACTRA Performers' Rights Society, PRS. Now, PRS does amazing things. They collect and distribute use fees from productions. So they are collecting use fees from productions that are still earning distribution monies. So basically, they collect millions of dollars per year for performers. And then there is ACTRA Fraternal Benefit Society. AFBS is the insurance provider for our members. And so when a producer works with ACTRA talent, they pay into the performers benefit program and the producers contribute as well. So our benefits program is fantastic. It's industry leading, and it's one of the major benefits to becoming a union performer. And then there is ACTRA National, which has this red logo here. ACTRA National offers support to all the branches across the country and spearheads national initiatives such as lobbying and research, bargaining, that kind of thing. As a union, ACTRA's objectives are to organize, bargain, and advocate. Organizing refers to getting more productions to sign on with ACTRA and engage our members, therefore procuring more work opportunities for the membership. It also refers to getting more performers to join ACTRA. Sometimes there is the misconception that unions are gatekeepers and they don't want more members, and that's absolutely not true. ACTRA wants more performers to join, and we want them to join our ever-growing membership of 28,000 performers from coast to coast to coast. Another objective is to bargain, which refers to the negotiation of collective agreements with producer organizations, which is very important. Those are the contracts that ACTRA members work on when they are doing a recorded media production. And then another objective is to advocate. ACTRA advocates on behalf of its members and helps to build the industry by having relationships with the various levels of government, municipal, provincial, and federal, to really drive home the point that not only is Canadian content really important, and culture is very, very, very important to ACTRA, but also this industry brings in so much to the economy. And we really advocate for tax credits and incentives for productions to come and shoot in Ontario. So ACTRA negotiates and enforces collective agreements, and these agreements set out fees and working conditions for performers. Again, that's a really key component of what the union does. And ACTRA also ensures members have a safe work environment because safety is outlined in our collective agreements. ACTRA members are paid for their work. That's what our agreements stipulate. They stipulate minimum wages and working conditions so that, as a performer, no matter what category you're working under, you will be paid at least the minimum fees outlined in our agreements. And for those in qualifying categories, you're also paid for the use of your recorded performance. Also, we have payment timelines, which are very key. So the producer has to pay within a certain number of days, and if they don't, late payment penalties are owed. ACTRA administers an industry-leading insurance and retirement plan for performers via ACTRA Fraternal Benefit Society. Again, I can't say enough amazing things about AFBS and the benefits provided to ACTRA members. So RRSPs, prescription coverage, glasses, dental, all that great stuff. As a union, we provide training and professional development opportunities, and we ensure that sets remain professional places to work. Diversity and inclusion initiatives are incredibly important, and the union supports these initiatives throughout the creative industries. ACTRA has a diverse membership, and we like to tell producers that they can cast the world in ACTRA Toronto's jurisdiction. As a member-driven organization, there are many committees that performers can join, but I want to give a shout out to the Diversity and Inclusion Committee at ACTRA Toronto. They advocate on behalf of culturally and physically diverse members. And in fact, the D&I Committee has been around since 1984. The co-chairs of the D&I Committee are Janet Rose-Wen and Shatrice Dalabay. Lastly, we have an online database of members at ACTRA, which is called ACTRA Online. And we have a specific channel for diverse performers. You can find that at diversity.actraonline.ca. Now, here's just some of the initiatives that ACTRA supports. The Sandy Ross Awards celebrate companies and individuals that are committed to diversity and inclusion in the industry. We also have a diversity and voice initiative to provide training for diverse performers wanting to get into voice work. We had the Black Performer Showcase. Program that we run is called Working the Scene in Color, where performers can act out scripts and meet writers and develop these basically show off their performance capabilities. And there is another program now, Working the Scene in Rainbow, in conjunction with the ACTRA TO committee for members of the LGBTQ+ community. At ACTRA Toronto, my wonderful colleague, Luisa Alvarez Restrepo, is the manager of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And she works again toward the promotion of engaging diverse performers, both culturally and physically diverse, and ensuring that truly the Canada we see on our screens should really reflect the Canada that we live in, which is a very diverse nation. Now, let's talk about ACTRA's agreements. ACTRA's jurisdiction is English language recorded media in Canada. So that means, again, if you're doing a film, television, web series, video game in English, that's ACTRA's jurisdiction. We negotiate these collective agreements, and it's really important to note that the engager, the producer, is the employer. And it's the employer's responsibility to create a safe and respectful work environment, and they must adhere to the rules outlined in the agreements. Now, this is important to note because when you join ACTRA, you are not guaranteed employment. You're not guaranteed, once I join ACTRA, ACTRA is going to call me and say, you're being hired for this tomorrow. We are the union. We ensure that there's minimum fees and the sets are safe, but essentially the person employing the performer is the production. So what do ACTRA agreements outline? Well, number one, safety on set is key. We can't say this enough. It's really important to practice safe sets. We also outline fair rates of pay for all performance categories. So whether you're a background performer, stunt performer, principal performer, there's a minimum fee, and the producer, by signing on with our agreement, cannot pay less than those minimums. That said, ACTRA members are always encouraged to negotiate above those minimum fees. All of the work sessions in the agreements include minimum hours of work. So for example, if you're engaged as a principal performer on a television show, your hourly, the work session is 8 hours plus 1 hour unpaid for mealtime. So that means if you get to set and they wrap you within 3 hours, probably won't happen, but in this example, let's say you get to set and they say after the 3rd hour, thank you so much, you're done for the day, you still get paid for those full 8 hours. On the flip side of that, you get engaged for your day working on the production and you end up working a 14-hour day. That means that you get the minimum fee for the 8 hours plus overtime payments. Performers in qualifying categories will earn use fees and residuals. This does not extend to background performers. Our agreements also outline the payment timelines and late payment penalty fees, and also information about like rehearsals, wardrobe, travel, per diems. So once a production becomes signatory to an ACTRA agreement, so a producer comes to us and says, we want to work with amazing professional ACTRA talent, and we say, fantastic, please sign on the dotted line. They become signatory to the applicable agreement, and then ACTRA assigns a business representative to the production. And that business rep is the engager's contact at the union. And they're also the contact for performers working on that production. And in fact, the ACTRA business representative is listed on the call sheet for the production. So the agreement covering advertising content in television, radio, and digital is called the National Commercial Agreement, and content, film, television, digital media, animation, industrial, lifestyle, documentary is covered under the Independent Production Agreement, the IPA. Now we have many low budget agreements at ACTRA, including the Canadian Independent Production Incentive Program, which is quite a mouthful, but we call it CIPIP. The ACTRA Toronto low budget guideline for shorts and feature films with budgets under $350,000, and then the web indie production guideline for web series, micro budget web series shooting in our jurisdiction. At ACTRA, we are huge proponents of safety on set and also respectful workplaces. So everyone has a right to a safe and respectful workplace, and ACTRA's agreements speak to safety, and all of our collective agreements include information and language about freedom from harassment and discrimination. ACTRA has rules outlining performers under the age of 18, so minors. It's really crucial that when children are working in the industry, they're Education and well-being is not negatively impacted by working in the industry. So again, we have very specific rules in place. For example, children under 12 cannot work longer than 8 hours. If children are missing a certain amount of school, they receive tutoring, and so on and so forth. Stunt performances should only be done by qualified ACTRA stunt performers and coordinated by an ACTRA stunt coordinator. So again, this protects performers because if you are engaged for a role on a production and you have a couple lines, let's say you're playing a barista in the show and you have a couple lines, here's your coffee, thanks so much. You won't go to set and have the director say, okay, I really like how you read that line, but I think this time we want to have you trip and fall over and the coffee goes all over your face and you hit your head on the ground. That won't happen. That's a stunt. If they want that, they need to engage a stunt coordinator and stunt performers. So again, performers aren't meant to be doing that dangerous stunt work. If there is nudity or intimate scenes in the production, there are very specific rules to ensure respect and safety of the performer. And you can find that information in our independent production agreement under Article A2 for nudity and intimacy. And ACTRA Toronto also has the ACTRA Toronto Guide to Best Practices for Scenes Involving Nudity or Intimacy, which I can't say enough good things about. I provide it to performers and producers I speak with all the time because it's a really great reference tool to ensure that if your production does include this type of scene, that it's being done safely, properly, and respectfully. ACTRA sits on the Section 21 Film and Television Health and Safety Advisory Committee in Ontario. Section 21 governs on-set safety and has, you can find all those rules at filmsafety.ca. And also there is the COVID-19 safety guideline as well, which is really important. So if you are a producer tuning in and you would like to know how to work with professional ACTRA performers, step one is to please reach out to the union. My email address will be posted at the end of this presentation, but please let us know. What are you creating? Are you developing a low budget video game, an independent video game, and you're a game developer saying, hey, we need voice performers for a game? Absolutely, give us a call. Are you doing a short film? Please let us know. Perhaps it fits best under our ACTRA Toronto low budget guideline. Reach out to the union and we can talk about all the options available. Once we find the correct agreement for your production, you decide, absolutely, I want to work with ACTRA Talent, and then you become signatory to the agreement. After you become signatory, you can begin casting and go to camera. So really, it's as easy as lights, camera, ACTRA. For those performers tuning in and wanting to know how to become a member, there are 3 categories of ACTRA membership. ACTRA Additional Background Performer, otherwise known as AABP, these performers focus solely on background work. Then there are ACTRA Apprentice members and full members. Very important to note, once a performer joins ACTRA, they must only work on union contracts. ACTRA membership is open to Canadian citizens and permanent residents, and you can find a whole bunch of information about how to become an ACTRA member by visiting actratoronto.com/how-to-join. But I will do a very quick summary here. Every performer starts out as a non-member, or as I like to say, pre-member of ACTRA. The performer then earns a qualifying credit on an ACTRA signatory production. So this means, put very simply, you audition for a role, it's a speaking role, not background work. You audition and you are the best performer at the audition. They want you for the role over all of the ACTRA members who auditioned, as well as the other pre-members who auditioned. So you get your first qualifying credit, you pay a work permit to be engaged on the production. And then once your work permit is approved, ACTRA Toronto membership staff will say, congrats, this is your first credit in ACTRA's jurisdiction. You are now invited to become an apprentice member. Once the performer becomes an apprentice member of ACTRA, they need 3 qualifying credits in total to become a full member. Now, again, this is just a very quick summary, and I do recommend that everyone go to actratoronto.com/how-to-join for more information on all of the categories of membership at ACTRA. So what are the benefits of becoming a union member? Union contracts feature better compensation than non-union. I can't tell you how many non-union production break information I've seen that members say, oh, this looks interesting. And they're just not paying very high rates. And as professional performers, you deserve to be paid properly for your work. And again, ACTRA does have low budget agreements in place as well for productions with smaller budgets than, let's say, a huge, big tentpole production would have. At ACTRA, we have something called preference of engagement. Preference of engagement is similar to how another union might have seniority language. So essentially, preference of engagement means when a producer signs on with ACTRA, they agree to audition ACTRA members before hiring a non-member. So this means that a producer can't come to us and say, listen, I auditioned 10 performers, 9 of them were non-union and only 1 was ACTRA, and we want to hire that non-member. ACTRA would say, well, you didn't really make an effort to find union performers to audition for this production, so that's not really adhering to preference of engagement. On the flip side, if they audition 10 performers, 9 of whom are ACTRA and 1 of whom is a non-member, and they like the non-member best, that's okay because they've proved to us they looked for performers that belong to ACTRA and they liked the pre-member better for the role. As I mentioned earlier, ACTRA has language in its collective agreements about freedom from harassment and discrimination. And we also outline, and this is really important, safe, clean, and healthy working conditions. Information about breaks, having access to clean drinking water, places to cool down if you're shooting outside in the summer on a hot day. Also, if you're shooting outside in the middle of January and it's quite cold, making sure the performers have time to take a break and warm up. We offer professional development to our performers and medical coverage in our RSPs via AFBS. ACTRA has a lot of member education courses that are free for our members. The first course that you take upon becoming an ACTRA member is called Respect on Set. And Respect on Set goes over set etiquette and also, again, respectful behaviors in the workplace, which is really important. We also have numerous courses available at ACTRATorontoeducation.com, which is our online e-learning website, such as orientation courses for all categories of membership, set etiquette and call sheets, money management, and refresher courses on the independent production agreement and national commercial agreement. Now, as I mentioned at the start, ACTRA is a member-driven organization. So that means that while the staff work for the union, really the union is led by a council. Now, this council of 24 elected members acts as the board of directors making the policies by which ACTRA Toronto is run. So they outline, the operating plan for the year, and then the staff implement it. ACTRA Toronto has its branch-specific bylaws, and all branches of ACTRA must adhere to the ACTRA National Constitution and national bylaws. Besides each branch having their own council, there's also a national council made up of elected members from across Canada. We always encourage ACTRA members to get involved in their union. And how do you do that? Well, joining a committee is a fantastic way to network and connect with your fellow ACTRA performers. We have so many committees that members can join. And again, it doesn't cost anything to join the committee. It's just if you want to volunteer and get involved, please do so. As I mentioned earlier, we have our Diversity and Inclusion Committee, out ACTRA TO. We have a Parades Committee for, of course, ACTRA Toronto marches in the Pride Parade in Toronto, and we also march in the Labor Day Parade. We have the Toronto ACTRA Women's Committee, the Voice Committee, and the Young Emerging Actors Assembly, aka YA, for performers who are on camera 17 to 30. Our newest committee is the ACTRA Toronto Green Committee. I am the staff liaison for the Green Committee, and it's all about sustainability in the industry, and it's brand new. It just launched a few months ago. You can find information about all of ACTRA's committees, and again, I just mentioned a handful here, at actratoronto.com/committees. ACTRA Toronto member Wendy Cruson has this great quote we always love to share. When you have chosen to be an artist, you have chosen to be an activist. Now, Wendy Cruson, you know her. She's a star of the screen in Canada, and she is, very involved in the union and one of our activists. She also sits on our council. Please, if you are interested in joining ACTRA and when you become a member, get involved in your union. We want you to be an activist. ACTRA Toronto is a founding member of Film Ontario, which is an industry consortium representing the industry across the province and the over 45,000 people that are employed in this business. ACTRA also regularly lobbies the provincial and federal governments about the importance and economic impact of the industry. So again, not only is Canadian content advocacy important, and again, supporting Canadian culture, but really telling the government how important that is, that this business brings in billions of dollars a year, and employs lots of people. It's not only great for culture, for domestic created content, but really it's good for the economy as well. We encourage all ACTRA members to become an activist. Get involved, connect with your municipal councillor, MPP or MP, and discuss the importance of supporting the screen-based industries. ACTRA Online is a member database that we provide, and basically you can head there at actraonline.ca. Now, members upload a profile with their headshot, links to their demo, information on who their talent agent is. It's a really great way to get yourself out there as a performer, and we connect with producers, and they might say, I'm looking for a performer that has this specific skill set, or is in this age range, or speaks this specific language. And we say, great, sign up for actraonline.ca and you can find your performer there. You can search by branch that you're shooting in. We also have 4 microsites attached to actraonline.ca covering background performers, diverse performers, stunt performers, and voice performers. Now, actraonline.ca, you need to be an ACTRA member to create a profile, and for producers, you need to be an ACTRA signatory to access it. But if you would like to see how the databases work, you can go to voice.actraonline.ca, as that microsite doesn't require a password. And it's really great. You can check it out, listen to some wonderful demos. I always recommend listening to the video game demos because they are so amazing. So as an ACTRA member, not only do you make sure that you have adequate RSPs, insurance, professional development, excellent wages and working conditions under our various collective agreements, ACTRA members also receive discounts on various goods and services via union savings. You can also go to actra.ca, our national website, to find out more about our Member Advantage program. So that is my summary all about ACTRA. My name again is Taisa Dekker, the Manager of Industry Initiatives and Outreach at ACTRA Toronto. You can reach me at tdekker@actratoronto.com. ACTRA's website is actratoronto.com, and you can follow us on social media at ACTRA Toronto.
So much for that.
I
wonder if you could just talk a little bit about, in terms of the membership and the type of performers again who would be eligible to join ACTRA, and if there is anything in relation to certain qualifications or training that someone may need to have undertaken before being eligible for a membership.
David, thank you. That is a wonderful question. So ACTRA, essentially, our members are between 3 months old and, all the way up until many, many, many decades later in life. So there's no age restriction on how to join ACTRA. I always recommend that accessing professional development for performance is really important. Some performers opt to take post-secondary performance programs, whether at university, colleges, getting a degree or diploma in performance or theater arts. But obviously post-secondary education can be quite expensive, and it's not open and available to everybody. But it's recommended that if you're interested in performing, do take some classes. Work those acting chops. Performance is a muscle, right? So you need to be constantly working at it to ensure that you are, as best as you possibly can be when you get in the audition room. So ACTRA doesn't have any minimum education level in order to join, but we do have something very exciting. I didn't want to run out of time today, so I didn't quite talk about it as much. But when I was speaking about how you join ACTRA, first off, for the AABPs, the ACTRA Additional Background Performers, there is a specific number of days they need to work as a background performer, and then they bring us proof of that, and then they can become an AABP that way. But to become an apprentice member, you either go through the audition process that I mentioned during the presentation, but we also have something fantastic called the New Graduate Credit. Now, the New Graduate Credit is for post-secondary performance programs that basically, if you have attended some of these programs, once you complete your diploma, degree, certificate, you bring that into ACTRA within 12 months of graduating, and that counts as your first qualifying credit. So it's a way for performers, who have gone to these performance programs to start their career as a union performer. And Again, you have 12 months to join on the new graduate credit. It is information about the new graduate credit is available at ACTRA Toronto/how to join, but I will also link directly in the chat here. One moment, please, just getting the correct link on my website here. So that again is a wonderful way for those that have pursued the post-secondary angle as a performer to use their education and their investment in their career via education to really begin their career as an ACTRA member. But I will note that performance is incredibly competitive. It's an incredibly competitive and career that can have lots of up and downs. Performers might have some years where they do amazingly well. They might get a couple episodes on a television show, maybe a national commercial, maybe they're doing an audiobook, and the next year they might not land any auditions. So for performers, it's important to, again, keep their performance skills up. Taking courses about, auditioning for certain types of content. It's really just a good way for performers to make sure that they are giving their best when they head into that audition room and when they go on set. But again, ACTRA can't recommend any specific courses or teachers or anything like that. So it's always due diligence, always be aware if someone is charging you an exorbitant amount of money that is like equal to the cost of a degree. Maybe just look into them. As the union, we can't say whether something is legitimate or not. We always just say, please do your research before signing with an agent or finding courses of that kind of thing. So I've just put in the chat here how to join, and I know that for those that might be joining afterward via recording, hopefully the links will show up there as well. But the new graduate credit information, I'm just putting it in the chat as well. So essentially, to become an ACTRA member, you again audition for a role in an ACTRA signatory production in the qualifying category. You are the best performer for the job. The producer adhered to preference of engagement because they auditioned ACTRA members, but you are the best person. You get your work permit, and then you're invited to join as an apprentice, or you can go via the new graduate credit, which again is a wonderful way to start your career right out of school as an ACTRA apprentice.
I think it's a fantastic initiative as a stepping stone, and I think and so much of my experience, as my background is in dance and choreography, but momentum is so important from training into your first steps into professional engagement. So I think that's really exciting. Megan has a question.
Thanks. Yeah, as a new graduate myself, I just wanted to say that credit seems really vital and really important. So the fact that you offer that is like exceptional. And so my question, you mentioned in your presentation that one of the trainings that members receive is respect on set. And I was just wondering if you could provide insight into the other trainings that you provide, if that's allowed to be said, kind of thing.
Absolutely, thank you. That's a great question. So pre-pandemic, our Respect on Set classes took place in the office, and they are taught by ACTRA members themselves. So the staff would teach some of the courses, but members would teach others. During the pandemic, obviously, we pivoted to online Respect on Set courses happen via Zoom, but we also have a website called ACTRA Toronto Education, which I will link in the chat. You do need to be a member of ACTRA to access the content, but anyone can actually look at what's included. And so this training is provided, again, free of charge. And I always think it's really beneficial for performers to, take that refresher course on the independent production agreement so that, again, they have a familiarity with the contract that they're working under. But you can check out, we have other courses like financial literacy, which are really important for performers, right? Performers are freelancers. As I mentioned, you might have 1 year where you're doing amazingly well and you're performing and you're being engaged all the time. And then some years where you might not be landing productions at all. That's just the way that it works as an artist in Canada. So being able to manage your finances is incredibly important. Also, something that not a lot of folks know is that, you don't have taxes deducted from your earnings when you work on an ACTRA contract. So you have to be able to budget for when you get your income tax bill and that kind of thing. We always say, keep meticulous records, keep files for every production that you work on, keep your pay stubs. All that is very important. Another part of ACTRA's member education and professional development is we have a twice yearly member conference. Now, again, pre-pandemic, it was twice a year, in February and September at the Ted Rogers School of Management down at Toronto Metropolitan University. During COVID, we switched to an online version of the member conference, but, we would have, courses where we would invite casting directors, and it would be a casting director session on auditioning for commercials and what's, the difference in auditioning for a commercial versus a production, and tips and tricks. We also have sessions for parents of child performers, so they understand, what's involved when you're contracted for a production, and important information for minors. We also have usually a 24-hour film challenge. So performers, the day one of the conference, get put into teams and they make a film, and then the winning film airs at the member conference. I will note that it's very interesting. Our February 2022 member conference, which happened online via Zoom, the most popular session of that member conference was the tax session. So it's that's another way that ACTRA members can connect. We did have an in-person member conference this autumn on September 24th, so it was nice to be back in person. But we're looking ahead to what we will be doing in February. Again, it happens February and September. And our member conference is free, whether it's online or happening in person. That's part of the benefit of being an ACTRA member. And I speak with a lot of post-secondary programs, and I've even had chats with some folks who say, "Can I come to your member conference?" I'll say, it's for members only. Thank you for your interest. Once you're a member, you absolutely can attend. We also feature, various shows that are happening, and, talk about things that are really important, like diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, connecting with showrunners. I remember one year we had a session on, there's a number of medical dramas shooting at the time. And so there, folks from those shows came in, as did, people that came in say, okay, here's how you say these really complicated medical terms and not sound like you're reading. And so that really you're still in character and you're believable as this doctor, nurse, et cetera, et cetera. So the member conferences, whether they're online or in person, are a wonderful way for performers to get that education, connect with other members, connect with their union, attend the AGM. And I do recommend that everyone check those out, because again, it's always very important information and a great way to network with your fellow ACTRA members.
Fantastic. I wanted to acknowledge that the links that you're providing in the chat, we will make sure that those are accessible where the session recording is published as useful links for people to track down. I had two other questions. One was in relation to I guess coverage. It may have been covered in the presentation. I was interested in performers or talent participating in advertising work, and if that was also covered. And then I wasn't sure if you also referenced documentaries or situations where a performer isn't necessarily portraying a role, but they're participating as themselves. Are those may be very strange nuances I'm raising. That information.
No, those are good questions. So ACTRA has a commercial agreement. It's the National Commercial Agreement, and we negotiate it. Our current agreement is negotiated with the Association of Canadian Advertisers. So when it comes to advertising, the advertising agencies are the ones that, they work with the clients, whether that's, McDonald's, TD Bank, and they win the bid to be the advertising advertising agency dealing with their communications, and they create content and they engage ACTRA performers. So fun fact, Canada and the United States are the only two countries in the world that still have a commercial agreement for performers. So it's our goal to protect that jurisdiction. So of course, commercials are unionized, and we want all commercials to be done with ACTRA performers and become signatory to the National Commercial Agreement. I don't tend to touch too much on commercials when I'm doing outreach, because in these types of presentations, simply because a lot of folks are tuning in. They want to do a short film or they're interested in doing a web series, but absolutely advertising is covered under the National Commercial Agreement. And we also have a low budget option for digital specific commercials in the ACTRA NCA called the ACTRA Online Opportunity Pilot Project, the AOPP. And for those that are interested in learning all about this, give me one moment. We actually have a lot of information on our website about the AOPP, including a video where I explain it. So let me just pull that up for 1 sec and I'll put that in. It's interesting that you brought up documentaries because documentaries are covered by ACTRA. Now, a lot of times documentaries do go ACTRA because they want to engage. They want to engage a professional narrator. So the narrator, of course, would be on an ACTRA contract, as narration is a category of performance. So it's just important to note that that is covered. Sometimes there's a lot of confusion about that, but absolutely documentary is included within the independent production agreement. So the independent production agreement covers film, television, new media, industrials, documentary, lifestyle productions, and animation. Sorry, I'm just looking for my AOPP page, which I seem to have bookmarked.
Asking incredibly well.
Thank you. So interesting that you would note if someone is being interviewed as part of a documentary as a subject.
A lot of the work that for us as well that we would engage in are those sorts of artist talks or people talking about themselves in their profession or presentations like this, but from the perspective of an actor or performer or and so that's sort of not portraying a role activity, I guess, is what I'm.
So essentially, as an actor performer, you must always be on an ACTRA contract. So that's a really key part of your membership is adhering to the rules outlined in the Constitution and bylaws. So our Constitution and bylaws outline, how the union is run and, important things, professional behavior by the performer, needing to be on an ACTRA contract. Please don't work non-union as an ACTRA member. But there are times, of course, when a performer is going to be asked to do a project, such as a documentary, and we would ask that performer to get in touch with ACTRA because there is language in our collective agreement about how that would work. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that, but essentially, you can find information about the independent production agreement online. I will put a link directly to there in one moment. And it's always important to just get in touch with ACTRA, talk to us about the project. Again, a lot of documentaries want to engage ACTRA performers as narrators, so the narrators would be on contract, but we always say, please give us a call. I think sometimes people are like, oh, I don't know if I could get in touch. I don't know who to speak with. I will say, get in touch with me. I'm always happy to chat with you about any project that you're doing and sort of walk you through the process and figure out the best way to contract a production. And so yeah, that's information about that.
Fantastic. An organization such as ourselves may be looking to put together a potential project. We would put in an application, for example, to Canada Council for the Arts and project that we may be using ACTRA affiliated performers for that role. In terms of projecting what the fees are those available? Would those be available to an organization, for example, like Hamilton Arts Council, who aren't necessarily ACTRA members, but would we be able to reference those fee schedules?
Yes, you can. I am actually just putting a link in the chat right now to the independent production agreement, which is, again, the film and television agreement. And the IPA is sort of the parent agreement to all our low budget agreements, such as our student film agreements, as I didn't mention that today, but we have agreements with various post-secondary institutions. So their film production students can work with ACTRA performers on their student films. But essentially, there is the link to the independent production agreement. And right. I will put the link to, just general film, television, digital media information in the chat as well. And there's actually, if you just sort of slide down the page, there's even information for documentary signatories. But essentially, we always say, hey, please get in touch with us. We would love to chat with you about your production and how to work with our members. I think for those that are that are interested in working with ACTRA talent, and they're developing content, they're applying for funding, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us, no matter where you are in the production process. I connect with creators who they haven't finalized their script yet, but they just want to know that when it's done and ready to go, what the process will be to work with ACTRA talent. So we are always happy to chat with folks about, what contract would be the best, how to work with ACTRA talent, the signatory paperwork that's involved, what it means to become signatory. So please don't hesitate to get in touch. I would always suggest, when you're planning, contact ACTRA in the planning stages. We obviously will do everything we can to accommodate and provide a good level of service, but I do request you don't call us 2 days before you want to go to camera. That providing enough time is good. We need at least 2 to 4 weeks before you go to camera, so we can be sure that all the information is provided, any questions can be answered, and everything can be all the ducks are in a row before you go to camera. For low budget productions, please give us a minimum of 4 weeks, simply because a lot of low budget productions have, again, very small budgets. It might be their first time working with ACTRA talent, and we want to be sure that when they apply to shoot under the low budget guideline or SIPIP or the Web Indie Production Guideline, that again, they let us know all the information so we can really explain the process, especially for first time producers.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Those are all the questions I have. Anything, Megan?
No, that was fantastic. I have lots of friends that I need to send this to afterwards, because this was a lot of great information. Thank you.
You're very welcome. There's so much to know, and something that I really, if anything you take from this presentation, either as a performer or as a producer or just someone who's interested, is please don't hesitate to get in touch with ACTRA. Questions are great. We have a very, very fulsome website. We have so much information on our website. For performers, you can see what productions are shooting and who the casting directors are for those productions. We also have a list of talent agents. Now, again, ACTRA can't recommend a talent agent, but we do have a list of talent agents in the jurisdiction that our members have signed the EIC Code of Conduct for talent agents, as well as, we have a close relationship with TAMAC. So we provide that as a resource. But really, truly, every production is unique. And I can't say this enough. I have been with ACTRA for 16 years, and I still have questions. I might chat with a producer and they'll say, okay, here is what we're doing. I say, ooh, that's very interesting. I haven't run into that before. And so we'll talk about it, right? So don't ever be shy about asking questions, because again, each production is unique. And of course, we want producers to have access to ACTRA talent while ensuring that the performer is on contract, minimum fees, wages, working conditions are paid. But again, we want more filmmakers, content creators of doing various types of content to get in touch with us, because again, ACTRA members want to work with you.